Coffee, boys. The desk, please.
Rita, are you okay?
Yeah, sure.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, my body feels like I got a toothache all over. And my heart... Oh, Peter, how could I be so stupid?
Oh, Rita, here, give me that. And just relax. I'll fix you a cup of coffee.
Thanks.
Besides, you gave those cons a show they'll never forget.
Yeah, especially those four who are still in the hospital.
That's true.
But you're right. It was a hard act to follow. What's that you got?
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a book. It's called The Curse of Rava. It's about that cult, you know, the Kalistani cult that's all the rage at the university now.
Yeah, I've heard about Rava's curse. You don't believe in far-out things like that, do you, Peter?
Rita, let's just say there are stranger things that have never been solved.
Get out of here.
Anyway, there's a demonstration of the followers of this at the university tomorrow, and the newspaper wants me to cover it, so maybe I'll find out some more about it.
You've traveled a long way, and I understand the idol is important to your people. I sympathize with you, Mr. Mandak. However, the exhibit will open tomorrow on schedule.
Rava must not be desecrated.
The idol will not be damaged, will not even be touched.
The face of Rava is not for the unbeliever.
I'm only the director of the museum. I cannot cancel the exhibit. As the chairman of the executives, Mr. Jameson, the board of trustees, I have to answer to all of them.
And they will answer to Rava. I warn you, Professor Rustin, unless Rava is returned to Khalistan, you will feel his wrath.
You mean the famous curse of Rava?
You mock him.
Oh, no, I mean no disrespect to your religion. It's just that I find it hard to believe in curses.
I warned you.
She's just a student who works here part-time.
I know who she is. Possibly better than you do. If you persist in treating our God as a carnival freak, he will do more than just warn you, Professor Rustin. Much more.
Sorry, pal. No cameras.
Oh, I'm Parker from the Bugle.
Oh.
What's going on here?
Oh, they're picketing the Kalistani exhibit in the main gallery.
Oh, yeah, I heard something about that. You're displaying Rava, the Kalistani god of death?
That thing has the ugliest face I've ever seen. How can anybody get down and worship a thing like that?
Well, maybe they're afraid not to.
Oh.
Did I scare you?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were so engrossed in your work.
Well, he's a pretty engrossing old boy. What's wrong?
You mustn't touch him.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. My name is Peter Parker. I'm a photographer with the Bugle.
Trina Pandit.
Do you work here?
I'm a student assistant curator. I'm translating the inscription at the base of the idol.
Oh, well, then you must be from exotic Calistan.
No, exotic Kansas. But my grandparents are from Calistan. They came to farm a long time ago.
Well, that's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, but in reverse. You know, I'm a student here myself. I'm a grad student in physics. I'm just a photographer part-time. How come I've never seen you around?
It's a big university.
Not that big.
I thought this job was boring.
place when Spider-Man was swinging on it.
Maybe, but that doesn't explain all the shaking just before it happened.
What do you think caused it, Professor?
I don't know. I'm an art historian, Captain. Ask young Parker there. Physical sciences are his field.
How about it, Parker? Could an earthquake have caused all this?
Well, certainly if we were in California. But there's never been an earthquake recorded in Manhattan.
Thanks, Parker. You're a big help.
My God, John, what's happened here?
Calistanis, Jonah. I told you we'd have trouble with them.
And I told you that we were not going to be pushed around by some splinter group of fanatics from a two-bit country halfway around the world. Parker, what are you doing here?
This is the university, sir. I go to school here, remember?
Jonah, I think we should cancel the exhibit. That idol is a religious symbol to these Calistanis. We don't have the right.
Right? We have more than a right. We have a contract with the legitimate government of Calistan to do this exhibit. We're the only museum in the country that'll have the idol.
I have a feeling this is just the beginning.
You believe in that curse business, don't you?
I don't know what I believe anymore. A piece of ornamental stone couldn't fall, but it did.
You probably don't believe that you can lose your job here. But you can.
Don't threaten me, Jonah. I don't wish to be disrespectful of the dead, but I don't care how much money your wife raised for this museum. She didn't own it, and neither do you.
I want the doors to this museum open to the public as soon as this mess is out of the way. You understand that? All right, what are you standing around here for? Get this place cleaned up.
Mr. Jameson, I've got some real winners here.
Parker, I can't print these.
But you always say that pictures like these are what sell newspapers.
Not my newspapers. Parker, don't you know that my wife was a patron of that museum? You realize that I'm now chairman of the board of trustees? Why would I want to give the museum this kind of publicity?
But you always say to report the news as it happens, no matter who's involved.
Stop telling me what I always say.
Well, I suppose I can always do something else with these.
Like what?
I took these pictures on my own time. That gives me the right to do whatever I want with them.
Parker, you would sell those to a rival paper. Where's your loyalty?
Mr. Jameson, I'm just a poor graduate student who's trying to squeeze by as a low-paid part-time photographer. Now, these are good. They're really good. I was the only photographer there, so that makes these an exclusive. I think somebody will buy them from me, don't you, sir?
Rita,
Yeah, boss.
we're buying some pictures from Parker and the negatives. Authorize payment, will you? I'd throw in a $50 bonus.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jameson. That's very generous of you.
Get out of here, Parker.
Wow, I am impressed. I am very impressed. You know, the last guy that got $50 out of Mr. High Roller that easily was the guy that mugged him in Central Park last summer.
Oh, really? You have the chief all wrong. He's really a very fair man. You just have to know how to talk to him.
Pete, why do I get the feeling you're conning me?
Jameson, the professor's in the main gallery.
Thank you. it that's so serious here that we can't discuss it over the phone?
I have to convince you, Jonah. We have to get that idol back to Calistan or something terrible is going to happen. I'm scared.
Well, I'm not. I may not be from Missouri, but if this curse business is for real, you're going to have to show me. That guy with all those arms could make a fortune in the circus.
Get away from him.
Shut it up.
It's the curse of Rama. I told you.
One more time, please.
Well, the lights kept flickering on and off, and suddenly they went out completely, and I heard Rustin scream, then there was this crash. And then the lights came back on, and there was Rustin lying right there with the idol on top of him. Yeah, but John, that thing must weigh half a ton.
Think it was the curse?
Nah, of course not.
Then how do you explain it?
I don't know. You're the detective. You figure it out.
I think maybe I have. Either of you ever see any tables slide across the floor by themselves? Or shields fly off the wall? Or this statue dancing on its pedestal?
What are you getting at?
There's another way all this could have happened, you know.
No, what are you suggesting?
Mr. Jameson, I wish there was some other explanation, but you had a motive. Several witnesses, including me, saw you and the professor argue.
You're saying that I tried to kill him? Oh, come on. Call the hospital. Ask Rustin. He'll tell you.
I have a man down there, but Professor Rustin, he's in pretty bad shape. I don't think he's going to be talking to anybody for a long time, if ever.
I don't believe this. I want to talk to my lawyer.
You call him from the precinct.
Now, wait a minute.
Please, sir. Don't make me use the handcuffs.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I want my lawyer. Get me out of here.
Don't worry about a thing, Mr. Jameson. Your lawyer's on his way.
What are you doing here?
Rita called me.
Why?
Oh, she thought maybe I could help you.
Well, what am I worrying about? Here I am in jail, accused of attempted murder, 3 days before a stockholders' meeting where I have to fight off some pirate who's trying to take over the paper. Look who's on my side. A college kid who runs around with a camera hanging on his neck, and a lawyer that nobody can even find.
Captain, Mr. Jameson wouldn't kill anybody. This whole thing is just crazy.
Yeah, you want to know what else is crazy? Read that.
Is this Mr. Jameson's statement? The table slid at them by itself?
Do you realize who I am?
Yes, a very important man. That's why I'm recommending that the DA sleep on it before deciding whether to charge you or not. Of course, you'll probably have to spend the night in jail.
What?
Well, that's good, sir.
Parker, I don't see anything good about this. If I lose control of the paper, you'll probably lose your job. You've thought of that, haven't you?
No, I mean, it's good that Captain Barbera's recommendation counts for so much. When he finds out that the Bugle is doing an in-depth profile on him, and he realizes that his treatment of you will have a direct bearing on the tone of that article.
Article on me?
Well, I'm sorry. I saw the memo on Rita's desk. It's one of your better ideas, I must say.
Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you.
You know, maybe I better call the DA. It would be a shame if Mr. Jameson had to spend the night here if it really wasn't necessary.
Are you sure he won't mind if you call him this late?
Trust me.
amaze me.
You know, son, that story about Captain Barbera, that isn't a bad idea at all. Yeah, I think I'll put Myers on it. And you can handle the pictures.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you, sir. But first, we've got to get you cleared for that stockholders meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Jameson, I've got your car parked right out front.
What do you want dressed up for?
Now, you didn't want me driving around in your rolls in an old housecoat, did you?
Well, actually, I didn't want you driving around in it at all.
You know, tell the truth. Your getting out early kind of messed up my plans. See, I had this date with this guy I know over in Jersey. We were going to strip your car.
You know, I half believe she was.
Hello. What are you doing here?
I told you the university wasn't that.
But how'd you know I'd be coming this way?
Because your next class is in the chem building, which is right over there.
How'd you know that?
Oh, a good reporter never reveals his sources.
Oh, you checked my class card at the ad building.
Now, you see, you could be a reporter, too. Trina, you were there at the museum the night that Mr. Jameson went to meet Professor Rustin. Are you certain they were alone?
All I know is I didn't see anyone, and I locked the door before I left.
Well, now, what's the big deal about Rava back in Calistan?
Calistan used to be ruled by the high priest of Rava.
That's it? That's why the idol is so important?
Well, the members of the cult were the fiercest warriors in the country.
Oh, so that's how the cult held power. I understand they used to worship death.
Not really. They believed that death in battle was the way to a place of honor in the next life. Peter, why are you asking me all these questions?
Because I'm trying to help Mr. Jameson. And because you're the only expert on Calistan I happen to know.
I'm no expert on Calistan.
Well, you translated the inscriptions on the idol.
Look, the cult was overthrown and the high priest vanished 50 years before I was even born.
So, you mean to say the cult doesn't exist?
I didn't say that.
So it does exist. Trina, what are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just concerned about what happened to Professor Rustin.
Suppose the cult did get their hands on the idol and took it back to Calistan. What would happen?
The high priest would declare a holy war and try to regain power.
Civil war? Have they ever tried that before?
Rava's always been very carefully guarded. As a matter of fact, this is the first time the government has ever allowed the idol to leave the country.
Which means this is the first time the cult has had a chance to get their hands on it.
I wouldn't know about that. Look, I'm going to be late. I have a class.
But Professor Rustin said that our God would be returned to Calistan.
Well, I hope you got that in writing, pal. Because we can't very well ask him now, can we?
You must return Rava to his people.
Hey, don't tell me what I must do. This could turn into a murder investigation. This statue here is evidence. It's not going anywhere.
No Rava's revenge.
Yeah? Well, if I'm ever in Calistan, I'll remember not to drink the water. Get out of here. I wouldn't worry about those guys. I'll tell you what, I'll have the cruisers in the area make a couple extra rounds, okay?
Thanks a lot, Captain. Sure make me feel a lot better.
Where's your phone?
Oh, right this way.
Captain, can I talk to you? Look, you have got to make sure that the idol of Rava doesn't get back to Calistan. I mean, it could cause a civil war, with Calistan sitting right between Russia and China.
Relax, Parker. I already talked to some fruitcake who said he was from the Calistani consulate.
Captain, did he threaten you?
No, but he said that statue of Smiling Jack in there was going to get me. You notice how scared I am.
I wouldn't take that lightly if I were you, sir. Look what happened to Professor Rust.
You too? Parker, don't you have to oil your slide rule or something?
Well, I really think...
No!
Thanks. Had to be a barbarian sandwich.
If I hadn't pulled out the bologna.
Hey, come back here.
death profile of Captain Barbera. That's the worst idea I ever heard.
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You liked it.
Sure. That was before Rustin slipped into a coma. You know what this is going to look like to the stockholders of the newspaper?
Jameson, you're not guilty.
It doesn't matter. If I'm not at that meeting for any reason, especially if I'm in jail, I'll lose the paper.
We can't let that happen.
We? There's nothing we can do about it.
Mr. Jameson, do you remember those pictures that I took at the museum? Could I have another look at those, please?
Why?
I got a shot of one of the demonstrators. Now, I think this man was involved.
They're all involved. Have you been talking to the Bulletin or the Dispatch? I see. You're the first of the rats to leave the sinking ship. Is that it?
I would never do any such thing.
I paid you more than I should have for those pictures. They're mine. Nobody's going to see them.
Why does that man have to be so stubborn?
That's probably what got him where he is.
I mean, he is in jail, and he still thinks he knows all the answers. If that's what it takes to be rich, I'd rather stay poor.
Honey, you work for Mr. Jameson long enough, you'll get your wish, for sure.
We have got to help him. Now, I have to get some of those pictures that I sold to Mr. Jameson. Rita, I have a shot of one of the demonstrators. I am sure the man was involved.
Forget it, Pete. Now, he's got them and the negatives in his desk, and the office is locked. He locks it whenever he leaves.
Well, why does he do that? You're always here.
Who do you think he is worried about?
Why should that be?
Rita, isn't there some way this could be arranged? Our jobs are at stake.
Oh. Well, listen, honey, now that you put it that way, oh, yes, there is a way it can be arranged.
Yeah, he's one of them. They said they were from the Calisthenic Consulate. What makes you think this guy has anything to do with Rustin's accident?
I guess you could just say I've got a feeling about him. Every time he's around, something bad happens.
Really? I could say the same thing about you.
Well, you had a run-in with him. Did anything strange happen to you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. It wasn't for...
If it hadn't been for who? Well, what happened to you, Captain?
Nothing happened, Parker. Forget it.
Well, something certainly happened to Mr. Jameson.
Okay, just for the sake of argument, say something did happen to me.
Something like the things that Mr. Jameson described.
Okay, Parker, okay. Just tell me one thing. How could this Calistani have pulled it off?
I don't know. But if something strange had happened to me, I'd want to find out how.
It's interesting that you called. I was following this case anyway. Have you ever heard of telekinesis?
The ability to move objects with the mind, sure, but I thought it was mostly a theory.
Oh, telekinesis exists. There's too much data to deny it. I get reports every week here of people who can perform telekinetic feats. There are people who, on command, in front of a live TV camera, can move objects on a table.
Or make images appear on a photographic negative.
Exactly. The most powerful telekinetic minds can bend steel bars with just the force of their minds.
Doctor, have you ever heard of something called teleportation?
Yes, but that's just a theory.
Well, tell me, how does it work?
Well, it's a concept in which the mind of the teleport is able to change the molecular structure of an object in such a way as to make it seem to disappear from one location, transport it over a distance, return it to its original form, making it seem to materialize in a second location.
Mr. Jameson didn't mention anything about any objects disappearing.
Well, the phenomena he described only sounds possible if he encountered an individual with an incredibly advanced telekinetic gift. But I've never heard of anyone having the power as strongly as you described.
But if he did have it that strongly, he could do all the things that Mr. Jameson described.
Oh, absolutely. Theoretically, the extent of the power is limitless. If you'd like to know more, why don't you flip through these books?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Keller. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Oh, hello, Captain. You going to take a class?
Sure. I may even go back to school full time.
Good. Maybe I can get you into my fraternity.
Hey, Doc, can I talk to you a minute?
You know who I am.
I know who you claim to be.
You have seen my power. Could any man but his high priest have such power?
Only if the old legends are to be believed.
You do not have much respect. I had heard that you were more American than Kalistani.
I am only American. I've never been to Khalistan.
But it is in your blood. After all, your grandmother was a daughter of the last high priest of Rava. Then you also knew that I would be coming to you for help.
I will not help you destroy a Khalistan that 70 years of peace has allowed her to become.
You will do as I say. Thank you. I knew you would see it my way.
I opened up this morning at 9 a.m., just like always. Then I shut off the alarms, then opened up.
All the alarms in working order?
Oh, they work perfectly. I can't understand it.
Was the idol the only thing that was taken?
Parker, what are you doing here?
I was on my way to class when I saw your car. Doesn't this prove that Mr. Jameson was innocent?
Certainly not.
You know, Captain, there could be international repercussions over this.
Yeah? Well, don't you worry about it, Parker. I'll find it.
Have you questioned those Khalistanis that tried to take the statue from you?
Well, that's a terrific idea, Parker. Talk about your international repercussions. You want me to waltz up to the Khalistani consulate and accuse them of robbery? That'd look great in the papers.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Sir, how many sets of keys to the museum were there?
Well, we have 2 sets in security, and Dr. Rustin had 2 sets of keys. Maybe there's a record in his office of who has that other set.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Trina?
Well, twice in 1 week. I guess the university isn't as big as I thought it was.
Trina, I have to talk to you.
Sure, but I've got a class. Can it wait?
Rava was stolen last night.
That's terrible.
I think you had something to do with it.
I'm going to be late.
You told me that you locked up the museum the night you let Mr. Jameson in. The police will find out that you've got a set of keys. It's just a question of time. But we don't have much time. Here we, Trina.
No. I'll be taking the idol back to Khalistan tonight.
Was this the man? Who is he?
His name is Mandak. He's the high priest of Rava.
Why did you help him?
I had to. He's got a kind of power.
Yeah, I know. It's called telekinesis. He can make things happen with his mind.
That's how they choose the high priest.
Whoever has the greatest power gets the job. The other night, at the museum, when Mandak and Professor Rustin were arguing, were you there?
He made the idol shake. He made a scimitar fly at the professor.
And he made a stone object fall. And everything Mr. Jameson said happened really did happen.
Certainly he made the idol fall on the professor, too.
Well, then why don't you go to Captain Barbera and tell him all that so Mr. Jameson can get out of jail? Look, maybe Professor Rustin will get better, and maybe he'll clear Mr. Jameson, but that isn't going to happen for a while. There's a meeting tomorrow of the stockholders at the newspaper. If Mr. Jameson isn't there, he will lose control of the Bugle. You have got to do it now.
I should have done it already, but I was afraid of Mandak. Oh, Peter, I'm so ashamed.
Don't be. Everybody will realize how hard it was to...
Calistani in the city. Then call the Immigration Service. Call the State Department. 10-4. Out. Why, what? Great.
Scared you, but I had to talk to you. I have something important to say.
You could have called.
Would you have believed me if I called and said I was Spider-Man?
You got a point. What kind of information?
The idol of Rava was stolen by a man named Mandak. It's being held at the Calistani consulate.
It might as well be in Calistan. I can't go busting in their consulate without some pretty heavy evidence.
I know that. But if you happen to be at the rear of the consulate tonight, about 11, you just might find the idol sitting on the curb.
Yeah, they're just going to give it back like that?
Not exactly. Just be there tonight at 11. You'll see.
You'll get yours one of these days, you web-headed.
Desecrated Rava, you will feel his wrath.
Parker.
Oh, Mr. Jameson, how did it go at the stockholders' meeting?
Oh, I think you could say I sunk that pirate. It was beautiful.
So you're still in control of the newspaper?
Well, there was never any doubt about that. Once I got out of that ridiculous jail.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, sir. I was doing my job.
You did an excellent job, Captain.
I thank you, sir. I'd like to take all the credit, but I have to admit I couldn't have pulled it off without Spider-Man.
Oh, well, he'd be delighted to hear you say that, Captain. Do you mind if the Bugle quotes you on that?
Not on your life. I'm not giving any recognition to some freak who runs around in a red and blue union suit.
Mr. Jameson, what's the latest on Professor Rustin's condition?
Oh, I called the hospital after the meeting. He's much better.
That is great news. By the way, Captain, whatever happened to Mandak?
Well, it looks like he's going to be all right. But the Calistanis have granted him diplomatic immunity for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
Could it be that the government of Calistan has plans for him and his cult of Rava?
I see what you mean. Well, Mr. Jameson and Captain, why don't you both step in here next to the idol, and then I can take a picture of it.
Excellent.
Okay.
How about right here?
Yeah, why don't you come in close?
Mm-hmm. This is one picture that's sure to make the front page of the Bugle.
Really? At front page rates?
Yeah, at front page rates.